Hello everybody, my name is Domenic Wamane and welcome to this full beginner tutorial series for Blender, where I will show you how to make these stylized pancakes step by step, and we will start by looking at where to download Blender. I will tell you something about it, what Blender is, what you can use it for. After that we will look at the UI, the first open, some settings, so that it's easy for you to work in it. I will show you some basic movements, some basic transformations. And after that we will go straight to modeling in the next video. The whole series will be separated in 7 videos, including this first one, introduction. If you already know what Blender is, I will put the whole video in the chapters so that you can skip right to the UI, or at least if you want to skip through everything, at least look at the transformation part where I will explain how to move stuff. I will also show how to follow these videos. That part is important for you, the rest is more of information and some real basics and theory about Blender. Let's get to it. We can get Blender on a site blender.org, where we can download it right on the main site. It'll pop up a window, download, where I can get it. I press download Blender. I have Windows, it will detect I have Windows. It will also give you the newest version. This part is important. I need you to have at least either the newest or at least something from the 4th. If you use older versions of Blender that is not 4, there will be different shading part, and I need you to have the 4th to follow this video. It might not be as important, but it will look slightly different, so it might be more difficult to follow. In that case, you go here to the left, releases. In the releases you get all the older versions of Blender. So if you don't want the newest, at least get something from the 4th. So we go back to the main site, download Blender. I'll get the donate site where you don't have to pay. Okay, this is just this is non-mandatory, you don't have to pay. It's only if you want to, something you consider a fair price. You can put your own value in here. We will get a download package. I will open the download package and I will get the installation. I go to the next. So the only thing in this setup you actually might want to change is the hard disk you download it to. Replace the C with some different letter of your hard disk. If you want to know which one it is, you can go to change, press here and look at, see I have like D, E, F, but don't press here. If you press the C, for instance, again, it will rewrite everything and you don't get the program files. You want to have the program files. Just check which letter you have for your hard disk and then replace it here. For instance, I'm gonna press D. But I want to leave it as C. That's where I have all my programs. You might want to have two. We go next, we go install, and we wait. In the meanwhile, while it's downloading, let's talk about what Blender is and what you can use it for. Blender is an open source, free application for 3D. Most people know it for modeling, but you can do animations, you can do texturing, shadings, rendering, you can do video editing and post-processing. You can do many things in it. It's a tool for everything that includes 3D. You can do 2D animations in it, and regarding creation, you can do anything. You can most likely do anything you can think of. The community in Blender is really large. So you can even find lots and lots of information about how to do these things. And in the last years, Blender has become very professional. And if you see the cat I have here on the main site, that is actually an animated movie in Blender, which has won an Oscar. Which means that Blender offered everything the creator needed to achieve his vision, everything he needed, for which he even got an Oscar. That's something that should just tell you that whatever you want to create, it's really up to you and how you use the tools, and Blender has them. So now that I finished the download, it'll pop up that learn how to support Blender. If you go to finish and leave it, it'll just bring you back to the site of donations. So after the download, you get this icon of a Blender 4M4, you can rename it if you want. I will press it. And now after it opened, I get an import Blender 4.2. I have previous preferences, so whenever you have some Blender and you set up anything, UI, you customize, you make shortcuts, and then upgrade to some other Blender, you'll get this pop-up where you can import from the previous version, which is handy so you don't have to redo everything again. You, as a first user, for the first time, you won't have it, so don't worry about this. After that, create new preferences, English, of course, theme, you get the light. I mean, if you hate yourself, you can get light. I prefer, and I think for your eyes, you should get the dark version. Theme map, leave it at Blender so that you can follow me. You can also change it later. you'll have a preferences where you can change this. Also select if you want to select with the left or right. Most people will use left. Right now, if you have selection on left, the right will be for options. If you're gonna select right, you will flip it. Now spacebar action. The play, what does it mean? The play is for animations. So if you look down, I have these numbers. The numbers is on 1 to 250. And this means it will play the animations on a spacebar. Leave it as it is, but if you want to, you can put it to search, which I will show you later that we will be using a lot. If you want to. Save new preferences. And now another pop-up, you will see it every time you open Blender. This will be there every single time. In the getting started, you will instead have recent files. You can click everything here, you can try and see what's there. The new file, you don't have to pick anything. Anything you want to choose here, general 2D animation sculpting, you can pick it up here. If you can see the modeling, sculpting, UV editing, you have presets for these things, and it will just open a UI preset so that it's easier for you to work in it, but it's not necessary. For instance, I'm gonna go to the animations. See now everything has reassembled itself. It has made the UI for me to work with the 2D animations, but if I wanted, I could build that in the general file. It's just easier to do it this way, so don't worry. I'm gonna file, new, general, I'm back. If you reopen Blender and click elsewhere, you will stay in this file. This is what we want to do. So what are all these windows? The main window where is the cube is 3D viewport. I can move around in this 3D viewport. This is where we will be building. On the lower part we have, as I showed you, the animation, which is not exactly an animation, it's just a playback. It's where if I press the space bar now, it's gonna play the animation and it's gonna pop up anim player. As you could notice, I can move this up and down. If you press this black line, it'll show you these two arrows that allows you to move this. On the right side, I have outliner. The outliner is a list of everything I have in a scene. As you could see, there is light, cube, camera. It also helps us to select objects and also to make a management of our scenes. We will also see that during this series how we use it to manage the models. Below that is properties. There is a lot of things in the properties and it might look a bit scary, so don't worry about it. I will show you through it. Right now you don't have to worry too much about it, and when we're gonna get there we won't even use as much and you don't need to use as much. So it looks a bit scary, but don't worry. It's not as hard as it might look. Let's get through some basic movements of the camera. If you notice in the right corner here, you can see what I'm clicking and what I'm using. So anything I will press, you will see popped up here, and you can check what I did in case I didn't mention something or maybe you skipped somewhere. You can always see it here what I clicked, and you can recheck with yourself. Now the basic movements of camera. So the basic movement, the rotation of camera is middle mouse button. If I'm gonna press middle mouse button, I'm gonna rotate the camera. Now the second shortcut we need for that is shift and middle mouse button. This is gonna move left to right. And now the zoom. The zoom has two options. We can either scroll with the middle button, which is step zooming, or we can use control and click the middle mouse button. Both has its own use. Sometimes you wanna zoom quickly and sometimes you wanna just gently. So now try move around, trying to rotate everything, try to go around this, zoom, scroll out, zoom, shift, middle mouse button, go crazy on this. Just get it to your hand, get it so that it feels natural to you. It won't for the first time, but try to practice it as much as you can. Maybe even while I'm listening, just press these shortcuts and try to move around just for the training. Let's do some customization. Before we get further, I want you to customize for yourself. If you have large screens, everything may seem too little. So if you go to Edit, Preferences, you can go to Interface, and there is Resolution Scale. If you're gonna drag this, everything will become smaller or larger. So move this around. This is important for you, for your eyes, so that it's easy and nice for you to work in it. I personally, I don't have a large screen, so I'm okay with the one. And after that, don't turn it off yet. If you go to the left, there is a small icon, Save and Load. That is autosave preferences by default. Sometimes it may fail. So I always, it's a habit, but save preferences. Preferences saved. I will turn this off. There is few more things I need to show you. We have these views, these modes that are really easy to get into accidentally. If I'm gonna press Z, you have these solid, material preview, wireframe, rendered. A lot of times people get to these different modes by accident because as if you used other programs, there is so-called undo. And if you press Ctrl Z, you do undo of things. For instance, Ctrl Z, undo, I'm back. So this is undo, it works in Blender, it works for I think 50 steps. I can Ctrl Z, but also if you're fast enough, you can press this and suddenly you're somewhere else and it lagged. And you can panic. What happened? Something changed. It's white. So let's talk about what it is. These views can be accessed in this right corner. You have these balls with different icons. Right now we are in a solid shading. This is the main one. This doesn't have any shadows. This is just a color, and this is the most used for modeling. Next to it on the left side is wireframe. The wireframe is a construction of a model. This helps us to check the way the model is constructed. It helps us to detect some issues right away or recheck the models, see the compatibility if I can send it to somebody else or if I can use it. It's transparent and it just shows the way it is built. So I'll go back to solid. You can just press it here or you can use the Z. And next to it on the right, there is material preview. If I'm gonna press it, we were already here if you noticed, and the cube becomes white, and for you it might lag. This for the first time can lag a lot and it can slow your computer, your fans can go crazy and it'll lag maybe. It can happen for the first time. If you go back to solid and then back again after it loaded, it usually loads quickly. So that's why I said people panic when you get there accidentally through Z. Don't worry, it's just that the preview can be demanding on your PC. The material preview is good because it doesn't have shadows or doesn't calculate anything too hard. I can play with shaders, I can play with different textures, I can do some coloring in it, and it's really just a preview. Right next to it is rendered. This is for finalizing your models. If I click it, to me it switched quite quickly. I think it might even for you. The material preview can sometimes load longer. Now we already have shadows. If I'm gonna zoom out, I'm gonna move this light, you can already see that the shadows are moving. So this is already with shadows and colors. You have different render engines you can use. Blender comes with Eevee and Cycles. The workbench is for previewing models. We will be using Cycles. Don't press it right now. You will notice that it's lagging to me, and what's cool about this Cycles, it's for more realistic projects, and it is because it calculates everything physically. If you see, I will zoom out and you can see this noise, and I'm also probably lagging, so it's very heavy on my computer, and it will be even for you. That's because right now I use CPU. Later in this series I will show you how to switch it to GPU. If I'm gonna switch to GPU, it's gray, it doesn't work. You have to set it up. We don't have to worry about it, just so that you know it's here. Okay, so that's this main UI thing. I will now go back to solid, which is up here. It's a second ball and it's called solid, or I can Z and select this on the right, solid. Okay, this was the main UI. Now we have to get some basics of modeling, some transformations, how to move things around so that we can start modeling. You already know how to move the camera. Now let's see how to move the objects. Let's talk about transformations. We have two ways to use the transformations. You can use either shortcuts or you can use the gizmo. The gizmo is these arrows that you just can see that popped up and that I can drag and use. I Ctrl Z, go to back. You can press it here on the left in the toolbar. This toolbar I can access either like this, and if it's gone, I can press T and it'll hide or show. So you can press these and do the rotations, scale. Most of the Blender users and the power in Blender is in the shortcuts. So in this tutorial, we will be using shortcut. The shortcut for this is G. It's for a grab. This G, I can lock in axis. If you notice right in this right corner, we work in 3 axes. The axes are X, Y, Z. which means when I move this, I can lock in these axes. So if I'm gonna press G and right after it, I'm gonna press X, I'm locking in the X axis. Right now, anything I do is just moving along this axis. If I'm gonna press Y, it's moving along this. The same with the Z. The another thing you need to know is when you press G and for instance Y, write any number, you can see in the left corner, you see moving numbers. You can also write these numbers, which means you are locking it. You are locking it to the number, so if you move the mouse, it doesn't work anymore. So I can press 100, I can press 5, 1. If I want to apply this movement, I press left click and it's there. I go back with Ctrl Z. Now if I don't want to use anything in Blender, let's say I move here and I don't want to do this. I can't Ctrl Z, it doesn't do anything. I right click and it goes back. It cancels what I'm doing. So anything you do, even if I write, let's say 5 and I right click, it goes back. So anything you right click, it just cancels the actions. Now rotation. So I'm gonna press R to rotate. The rotation happens from my view. So right now I'm looking from here. So it's rotating from my view. If I'm gonna look from here, it rotates from this view. I can as well lock the axis. You can try it out, of course. And again, if I'm gonna do anything, I can right click and stop the action. The same way with the numbers. I can press R for rotation, Z, lock it in Z axis, and write 45 degrees. I can press enter, which I applied it, and suddenly I have 45 degrees. Ctrl Z, and the same with the scale. If I press the S button, it does the scale. I can again write how much I want to scale, or I can right click to disable, to cancel the action. Now you can also lock in the axis, which is very handy, and write the numbers if you want to. I'm gonna right click and leave it as it is. So these were the transformations. So now what is object and edit mode? Right now, anything we were doing in an object mode. In the left corner here, if you press this object mode, you will see some other options. You won't need them, but so that you know there is much more options. And if you ended up in some different, for instance, vertex paint or something, you can just go back here, press object mode, and you'll back to where you were. We will be using mainly edit mode and object mode. So right now, if I'm gonna press the cube, go to left, press edit mode, I'm in the edit mode. I want you in this tutorial series to check it yourself. Every time I forget to tell it or something, make sure, and something happens to you, make sure you check that it's on edit or an object mode. I will also use a shortcut, and the shortcut for these modes is tab. You can, anytime you have clicked any object like this, and tab, you will access the other mode. As you can notice, the edit mode allows me to see the points which object is made of. If you go again to the left corner, we have 3 options to edit these. So the transformations we were using work here as well. It's the same thing, it's the same principle. If I'm gonna press this mode and press G for move, I can move this, I can lock this in an axis, and I can write numbers. Right click to cancel the action. On the left side, we have 3 modes we can move with. We have these vertices, then we have edges. If you look in the left corner, I have these 3 icons, which is vertex, edge mode, and face mode. We will be using all of these, and I will use shortcut for these. If I'm gonna press edge, I can move with this edge. If I'm gonna press face, I can move with the whole face or polygon. I will also be using shortcuts for these, and the shortcuts for these are 1, 2, 3. You can see I'm changing the modes here. It's not on the numpad side, it is not on the right side of your keyboard, it is on the left side, above the letters. And there is a difference between this object and edit mode, of course, beside the construction. And that is the origin. And what is the origin? So if I go to object mode, you can notice this orange dot in the middle of the object. And if I move this, it moves with it. This orange dot is a pivot of the mesh. It is a point from which everything happens. For instance, if I'm gonna rotate, scale, or move, it's happened from this exact point. And it is important to know that if you use object mode, you're moving it. While if you use edit mode, it stays where it is. So that is where a lot of issues can happen. And really make sure that when you are following with me, you check whether you use object or edit mode or where this origin is. I will also show you later how to move this point. Now, if I'm gonna press N, or I'm gonna go right here, there is this arrow on the side. It's very small, but you can see here in the corner, it allows me these extra options. Or in a viewport, if I'm gonna press N, it hides and opens. Now, this is important for us because if we are in an object mode and we have moved an object or rotated the object, you can see it changes the values here. This also allows me to go back from here. I'm gonna left click this one and drag it right away. You have to do it quickly. I'll drag it down. I get all these numbers. I'm gonna press 0 and it brings me back. The same with rotation. 0, I'm back. So this is good to know. If you use object mode for these things, you can get back if you did something accidentally. I'm gonna press N again and hide it. Now what is 3D cursor? So the 3D cursor is this red and white circle in the middle where accidents can happen as well. So if you're gonna shift and right click, you move this point around, and a lot of people just panic again of what happened. If you're gonna Ctrl Z, it doesn't do anything, it stays what it is. So if you're gonna accidentally move this with shift and right click, you press shift S, there is cursor to world origin. I press this, I'm back where it is. Please be sure that if you move it, don't try to get it back by dragging it in the middle. Please use the shortcut Shift S and put it to world origin. It is a point where we make objects. Any new object I make is gonna pop in his location. It is a referential point which I can use for rotations, movements, I can use it for scale, I can use it for lots of stuff that helps me, and I can move it around. That is why it's helpful. But it can also become chaotic if you don't know how to move it back. So make sure it's always in a world center. So Shift S, cursor to world origin. Now last thing that I need to tell you about, and that is a subdivision. We will be using subdivision a lot in this tutorial, so I need you to know what it is. So you can just watch, don't try to follow right now. So now what is the subdivision? If you look at this thing, and I have it in edit board, you can see I have 4 points. And the subdivision, what it does is, it is dividing all the detail and splitting it. I'll show you. If I have this plane of 4 points and I press right click and subdivide, I suddenly have from 1 square, I have 4 squares. If I'm gonna press it again, I'm gonna have 16 squares. If I'm gonna press it again, it's gonna always multiply by 4. So it's always gonna cut in the middle of these squares. As a result, I will always have multiplication of 4. So basically all it does, it adds detail. The simple subdivision is useful in cases where you don't want to deform the original shape, but also you want to take something out like mountains or something, some ground, and you're using textures to bring it out. In Blender, we have 2 ways to subdivide things, and it is what I showed you right now. It is just adding the detail and the cuts. It doesn't deform the original shape. Then we have a second subdivision, which is smoothing one, and which is Catmull-Clark. This series we will be mainly using this one. What it does is that is averaging even the distance between which it is splitting, and as a result it is making more circular, more smooth shapes. This one that averages the distances is very helpful for us if we want to make really smooth surfaces. The issue with this one is that it really cares about the construction of our models. This one needs a proper construction, otherwise it makes unwanted results and it can make some glitches. So for instance, if I'm gonna come here and put a subdivision on this cube, you can see the whole surface is reflecting smoothly, but if you're gonna check right here on this sphere, which doesn't have a nice construction and it has triangles, it suddenly doesn't become so smooth. It has issues with the surface and it doesn't look so good. And it is because the construction of this model is not properly made for the subdivision, so it's not looking as good. So these triangles, they can cause issues, and there is unset rule that you shouldn't be using triangles when you are constructing in subdivision. However, this only matters when the shape is circular or it has angle changes. If it's flat, you're not gonna see it. So just remember that. Don't think too much about it in case someday you encounter an issue. You can use the triangles in your advantage, so don't be too stuck on that you have to use quads if you hear it somewhere. The only thing that matters is how the model looks. Good, so I think we covered everything that's needed before we start modeling, and the main things I want you guys to look at. In this right corner, when I'm pressing the mouse, you can see all the things I'm pressing. Always check it. And on the left corner, left upper corner, check if I'm in an object or edit mode. That will be important for what we're doing, but I will be trying to repeat everything I'm doing so that it's easy for you to follow it. Alright, that will be everything for this video. If you have any questions, if I missed something, please let me know in the comments and I'll try to answer as soon as I can. You can check the description, I will put some links in there. In the next video we will start modeling and I'll see you there.